With businesses closing down everywhere and thousands of job losses, this next story is one for the underdogs. There's a pulp mill in British Columbia that was about to go under. It had lost billions of dollars, but the people who worked there weren't about to let anyone kick them out the door. What they did to survive is nothing less than inspirational. Our Carolyn Jarvis tonight with that story.
The relics of a once mighty forestry sector stand scattered across the country. Pulp mills, the latest victim, saw global prices in a free fall and layoffs by the thousands.
This is the kind of thing that breaks marriages up, causes people to declare bankruptcy, lose their homes.
And so it came as little surprise to workers in Nanaimo, BC last year, after watching other mills falter and shut down, that they too were now in trouble.
But if we can keep that down, it can't slip.
Still, no one wanted to accept that after nearly 70 years in business, the Harmac mill could actually close. But on May 6th, 2008, the locks were put on the gates and more than 500 people were out of work.
At the time, my wife worked here as well, so we both lost our jobs. So yeah, it was a shock to our system.
Here I am, 50 years old, and starting to collect EI benefits, and I'm going to have to put a couple of university students through school.
When the mill finally shut down, I think it was a reality check, and it was, what do we do now?
Many had spent their entire lives at the mill, just like their fathers did. And then there was Nathan Olson.
Hey guys!
A millwright apprentice with only 2 years on the job.
When Pulp and Talbot went bankrupt, I was the lowest employee on the seniority list. Out of 530 employees, I was the last person hired.
On his salary, Nathan supported a family of 7, and so to lose it was beyond devastating.
For me, it was the end of a dream. And I didn't know what was going to happen. I had no clue after that point in time where I was going to go.
I was scared of what was going to have to happen. I mean, he had to go out to Alberta for a bit, which left me home with the boys all by myself.
Little did Nathan know at the time that a roll of the dice by his co-workers was about to change everything.
Rather than be victims of circumstances, we have decided to create our own future.
Mill manager Paul Sadler and union leader Jerry Tellier had been meeting behind closed doors and came up with a concept most would think was crazy. They decided the people who knew the mill better than anyone else, the employees, would buy it back.
After probably a month of talking about it and looking at all the options, I think it really became clear that, yeah, we can do this.
But the move was risky. Every employee would have to buy $25,000 worth of shares, including $10,000 up front. Jerry Tellier held weekly union meetings and saw the worry in the workers' eyes.
They were really hoping we could pull this off, but they knew the chances of something like this were far-fetched.
And so an employee group was formed, buying up 25% of the company, with the rest going to 3 private investors. Still, they had to convince the creditors their bid was the best.
They were really quite interested in selling this business, this site and all the equipment to a salvage company and tear it to pieces.
But on July 30th, 2008, a judge saw the promise and the hope these workers held and approved the deal. 2 months later, Harmac reopened its doors and hired back 220 employees. Doug Narver was one of them.
I've been here almost 32 years, and in that time I've seen 4 owners go through this place.
Do you ever think you'd be one of them?
Never in a million years.
Still, all eyes were on the mill. Analysts had written it off. Most were just waiting for the concept to collapse. But the new Harmac was nothing like the old. Kevin Haylett saw the transformation firsthand.
We used to have an adage around here, not my job. I'm not doing that, not my job. We were all very comfortable in what we did, and we didn't want to go outside or do any more than we had to. Now that we're all part owners, not my job is not a spoken word around here.
One of the investors, Levi Sampson, did a complete restructuring of the company. And so despite the naysayers, Harmac kept doing what it knew best.
The customers at first, it was the same thing as the analysts. They said, I don't know if an employee model can work. They said, you know what, we're not sure about it. So the second time I come back and they said, well, you know, you guys are still around. And you're visiting customers for a third time. They say, you know what, you're doing better than all the other mills throughout North America.
6 months after they launched, the mill is a huge success. Production is up, costs are down, and now the model people are looking to is the little mill everyone had written off.
Pride?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, I found myself going around picking up little pieces of garbage and just cleaning up and doing things that probably I, wouldn't do before.
But it's yours now.
That's right.
In fact, the trend seems to be catching on.
There was actually another company here in town that said we pulled a Harmac, and it was a small group of...
It's a verb now to pull a Harmac?
Yeah, so it was nice to hear, and it was a small group of employees that decided to buy their little workshop.
Later this year, Harmac plans to open a second production line, hiring back the last 40 people who were laid off last spring. What these workers have pulled off is truly an incredible feat when you think of it. Of course, at Harmac, they say, when you're out of luck, you just have to make your own.
Harmac will be here when I retire. I honestly, truly believe that. This is home.